as you are aware that during this COVID crisis, large number of higher educational institutes are now moving towards online teaching mode. Even the examinations will be online. Considering this scenario, UGC, University Grant Commission, has put out new guidelines regarding examination and academics. And today we have with us Chairman of UGC, Professor DP Singh, to discuss elaborately on these guidelines. So it is going to be an interesting session. So thanks, DP sir, for sparing time. Welcome to the discussion, sir.
Namaste, thank you.
So, sir, I have seen the recent guidelines which are put up by UGC. They are very elaborate. How exams should be conducted, what should be the academic session. So, sir,
Yes.
what are the considerations by the committee, given by the committee when these guidelines were framed, sir?
Actually, the consideration was that because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent nationwide lockdown, students, there were certain concerns in the minds of the students, and looking to that how their future would be, where the examinations will be held, what would be the admission process in the next session, and how other concerns which are there before the students, before the teachers, before the academic fraternity, and all the institutions of higher education. And therefore, it was thought that we can constitute a committee of experts which can look into comprehensively, elaboratively, all the issues related to examinations, issues related to academic calendar, issues related to PhD and MPhil students, issues related to laboratories functioning, etc., etc. And therefore, a committee under the chairmanship of the former UGC member and the Vice Chancellor of the Central University of Haryana, Professor R.C. Quahad, was constituted, and they will given this responsibility to come out with the, some recommendations which can be shared with the universities in the form of the guidelines. And I'm very happy to say that the committee, along with the experts which were there in the committee, they co-opted some of the members, and also they interacted with the Vice Chancellor, they interacted with the select group of principals, they also interacted with the academia in general, and came out with the recommendations. And then these recommendations were placed before the commission, which is our procedure, and it was discussed there, and after the approval and acceptance of the report of this committee, the UGC issued the guidelines for the universities and the colleges.
So, sir, it has some very interesting guidelines, especially regarding examinations. Now you have suggested open book examinations, open choice questions, and so on and so forth in these guidelines, sir. But, sir, do you think that our academicians are really ready for these kind of exams? Because setting question paper for these kind of exams is a bit different and tricky also. So, do you
Yes.
think that our professors are really equipped or they are capable to set questions for such kind of exams, sir?
Actually, I want to make it very clear that not only the open book examination and open choices question examination, that is one of the options actually. The committee recommended several options, and while framing the guidelines, we thought of every institution. We thought of the diversity of this country, which is very wide, and in terms of the educational diversity, in terms of geographical diversity, and also the kind of institutions. So the commission considered the report, and also it was suggested that guidelines should be stakeholder friendly. Particularly, it should keep into mind the various guidelines which have been issued, various protocols which have been issued by the central government and the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Home Affairs, and also then at the state level, and then also at the local administration. So the prime concern is the health and safety of the students. Then issues related to the particular place, then also the institutional functioning, and therefore these guidelines are very flexible. And we have written it very categorically in the letter addressed to the Honorable Vice Chancellors and the principals of the colleges, and also in the guidelines that the universities and other higher education institutions can adapt and implement these guidelines, and wherever modifications, alterations are required, which are most suited in the existing circumstances and also in the foreseeable future of the situation. And therefore, the guidelines are very flexible. So besides this open book examination, we have given several other options also. I agree with you that it will take some time to go into it, but there are certain other options also. And not only then, type of examinations, besides that also, the how examinations can be conducted. We have given a modified suggestive academic calendar also, and in which we have suggested that the examination of terminal semester can be held in the month of July, from starting from 1st of July. Then after that, the examination of other semesters could be organized in the mid-July. Then the next session for the old students can start from the 1st of August. Then for the new batches, it start from the 1st of September. So we have given lots of choices for the universities, and on the basis of these options, the choices, they can select the best one which is there for them.
Sir, you rightly said that we have huge amount of diversity. Even internet is not present everywhere. And sometimes online education is going to be a challenge in the remote part of this country.
Yes,
So,
yes.
sir, do you believe, or whether UGC believes that post-COVID world, whether there will be complete online kind of a mode for especially urban institutes and what we can say conventional kind of a rural, or it will be a blended for all? What is your take on this, sir?
No, UGC is not suggesting complete shift to online education. I want to make it very clear. But as the norms of social distancing, physical distancing are to be followed in view of the COVID-19 and the situation which is now today and which is likely to be after a few months also. And therefore, as of now, the online e-learning, which is in various forms, is the alternative. And therefore, we are aware that keeping into the diversity of this country, the students are there in the rural areas also. They are populated in other areas where internet facility is not there. But wherever the facility is there, they can use the e-resources, online resources. But besides that also, we have this 32 DTH channels also. We have Swayam Prabha is there, and then on Doordarshan and other channels also, the students can use that, and on Akashvani also. And besides this, we have also requested our teachers, our academic fraternity, to help students also through other modes. They can get some notes, they can photocopy those notes and send it to the students in different ways. Now, through speed post also, they can share the notes. Under the academics calendar also, we have suggested that after this closing of the institutions, which was there on 16th of March, then we have requested the higher education institution to continue the teaching learning through whatever mode is possible. And at the very beginning, on 25th of March, we issued an advisory. UGC issued an advisory to all the higher education institutions, suggesting the many options which are there for the e-learning resources.
Like Swayam.
Whatever is available, so that the students are aware of that, the teachers are aware, they can use of that. We provided links to the academic fraternity, and that helped a lot. Then this through Swayam Prabha is also we are reaching to the students.
So, sir, one of the another very important platform, MOOC platform, is Swayam, sir. So,
Yes, yes.
sir, and a large number of students are now getting into Swayam platform. Initially, pre-COVID, the adoption of Swayam was not great by universities, sir. So, do you
Uh-huh.
think, sir, that UGC is now will be more successful in pushing universities to adopt Swayam platform for giving credit, sir?
Yes, yes, yes. Actually, under the SWAYAM regulations, which is existing there of 2016, and there is a mention that universities can take through SWAYAM books up to 20% of the credit could be given of the total courses. But we are also now thinking to increase it up to 40% so that more courses are available. We have already requested the higher education institutions to adopt these books and also to study through SWAYAM and also to have a mechanism of credit transfer. And now we will be writing to them, emphasizing, reiterating, and so that would be beneficial to the students. At the same time, UGC and the inter-university centers of the UGC, which are there, that CEC, Consortium for Educational Communication, and this INFLIBNET, Information and Library Network, these all three institutions are working together, and so that these we have more successfully implement these on SWAYAM portal.
Fantastic, sir. So, sir, I would like to take back our discussion to the examination. Sir, previously, because the academic calendar was stretched, a large number of students would actually get opportunity to reappear for exams to improve their grades, to improve their marks, sir. Now, in the current situation, whether that kind of facility will be available to them, sir?
Yes, yes, yes. We have provided that opportunity into the guidelines, and we have requested the higher education institutions that students should be provided with this option, and it is mentioned very clearly in the guidelines. If any student wants to improve the grades, he or she may appear in the special exams for such subjects during the next semester. That provision we have made. If you look at the guidelines, you will find out that they are more student friendly, and the interest, the health, safety concerns of the students community at large, they have been addressed in these guidelines.
So another worrying factor for large number of youngsters will be, especially for youngsters who are doing post graduations and PhDs, sir, because a lot of laboratory work is also involved. With undergrads, you can always give an exam, you pass out, you get degree. But when it comes to MTechs, MPhils, PhDs, there's huge amount of laboratory work or field work which they have to do. Now,
Yes, yes.
considering this COVID crisis, they may not able to go to labs or they may not able to go on field. So, sir, what these new guidelines actually offer for them?
Actually, committee which was there, they also discussed this issue with the fellow vice chancellors and the head of the institutions. And in the guide, on the basis of that, on the basis of the recommendations of the committee, we have suggested in the guidelines that some ways and means be evolved, so that students who can go to laboratories and can conduct, because they are sometimes the experiments are time bound, and therefore they have to go to laboratories and to have those experiments done. So one thing that has been requested, but another thing is that for keeping into mind the concerns of the MPhil and PhD students, we have extended the period of the submission of their theses by 6 months. Another in these guidelines provision is there that the viva voce of the or defense of the PhD can also be conducted through video and other methods remotely that can be done. So these two privileges have been given in the guidelines.
So these examination guidelines, which you have put, are academic guidelines, which UGC has put out, sir, whether they are time bound and whether they are just confined to this COVID crisis, or now you look at these guidelines as a long-term change and it's a new normal for UGC?
Actually, the way the post-COVID situation has been projected, and we are going through it, and we have to perhaps learn to live with for this coronavirus. Something is like that suggestions, and therefore, although guidelines have been framed for the current session and how the next academic session would be, because the current session being late will affect the admissions and other processes of the next academic session. So how those things, but one thing is there that we are suggesting that higher education institutions, besides the the campus learning, and they should also think of the ICT enabled education, the use of e-learning, the IT enabled methods, the various resources which are there, and to also to promote online. But at the same time, face-to-face teaching should also be there, and therefore we can think of in long run a blended model of the teaching learning, and which is, I think, a necessity also. And therefore, having virtual classes, having the effective technology on the campuses is also required, and therefore we have also suggested to train our faculty through various modes in these teaching learning processes. And we should think of the ways and means and methods and strategies, whatever is best suited to the students in a particular locality, keeping again the diversity into mind. That is the take of UGC.
So the one aspect is certainly exams, which are really immediately will be very relevant for students. The second aspect of this guidelines is guidelines regarding academic sessions, next academic session, sir. So
Yeah.
would you like to elaborate on that also, sir?
As I mentioned about the academic session, we have considered after the, we have given some suggestions. Actually, we have given suggestive academic calendar for this current year, and also academic calendar which is also suggestive for the next academic session also. And after the closing of the institutions, which happened on 16th of March, actually, we have suggested that up to 31st of May, this learning through various methods, we call it e-learning, we call it online, through social media, through Swayam Prabha, or whatever possibility is there, that should continue up to 31st of May. Then from 1st of June to 15th of June, we have suggested finalization of dissertation, project work, internship reports, completion of the syllabus, internal assessment, assignments, student placements, and other academic activities which are there. They should continue up to 15th of June. Then from 16th of June to 30th June, we have suggested for having summer vacations. And but here also we have given a provision that if the situation so demands, because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the protocols of the central state governments, if normalcy is not there, then the summer vacation can be little longer. It can be of 1 month also. But in that case, in the those activities related to e-learning and the dissertation, etc., they should continue up to 31st of May. So this we have suggested, and on the basis of this, the next session for the next session, the examination we have suggested should be for the current session examination of terminal semester. That should be organized from 1st July to 15th of July, and for the remaining semesters, these examinations can be held from 16th July to 31st July. Then result of the final semester or terminal semester should be declared by 31st of July. For remaining semester, it should be declared by 14th of August. For the next academic session, we have suggested from the August, 1st August, the old students, their classes should start, and for the new batches, it should start from the 1st of September. So you can see that this is the whole, again, we have given flexibility. We have requested the institutions to look into the various options. But as far as the examination for the another provision which is there in the interest of the students, we have also suggested where there is no possibility of taking examinations only for the intermediate semesters, then the institutions can think of having 50% of marks out of the internal assessment and 50% of marks out of the previous semester's performance, and then on the basis of that they can have those students in the next semester. But this is only for those institutions where the situation is like that and there is no normalcy, there are no chances to have the examinations and the physical.
Maybe in red zones,
red
zones you are talking about.
So whatever the situation would be there in the, then in July, then institutions can think of this. So in that way, you can see that these guidelines are very much student friendly, stakeholder friendly, institutional friendly, and the guidelines provide flexibility and easy to adapt and easy to implement type of guidelines are there, keeping into mind the health and safety of the students.
So, sir, let's close down on this very, very optimistic, positive note, sir. I have seen the guidelines. They are really very elaborate. I can vouch that they are very, very stakeholders friendly, sir. So,
Yes.
Thank you for talking to us, Singh Saab. We really appreciate, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But before closing, I would like to say that I would suggest my
Go ahead, sir.
my dear students, my academic fraternity, that not to panic, have patience. The institutions which are there at the whether at the central level or the state level and the higher educations, they feel concerned about the health and safety of the students, and their concern is of prime importance to all of us. Recently, we have also constituted a UGC, a task force of our senior officers to handle all the queries and grievances of the students, of the teachers, and of the higher education institutions promptly and to respond to them and timely. And we have also created a separate helpline also, it's a helpline number also. So this is all to facilitate and to keep into view to address the concern of the students, and this is what we have requested all the higher education institutions to have the helpline for the students, also to look into the mental health and the well-being of the students, to provide health counseling, psychological counseling. So we all feel concerned about the health and safety of the students. I wish all the very best to my students for their future endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Jai Hind, sir.
Jai Hind.